to go back to those comments, I never should have said replace. I think replacing Kobe. I don't want to say I'm replacing Kobe. I will stand on playing with Shaq, though.
We got a very special guest today, seven-time All-Star, Hall of Famer, two-time scoring champ, true definition of a walking bucket, one of the best scorers of all time, Tracy McGrady.
What's up, bro?
No, man, appreciate you coming on.
Man, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's get right into it. I want to start in Toronto, 18 years old, fresh out of high school. What do you remember most about those early years with the Raptors?
I remember growing pains, really struggling to adapt. Coach is criticizing me, and really trying to understand and see where I fit in with this team because I'm an 18-year-old kid that was just the number one player in high school. And I come to this grown man league, and as a leader of the team, meaning the coach, like you're supposed to give me structure and organization and try to, help me learn this game. But it was a lot of criticism in that sense. So I was, really trying to figure it out, struggling my rookie year. Thank God I had somebody to lean on, that went through the same thing I went through, and that was Kobe. Like we talked a lot my rookie year. And, I think Isaiah Thomas, who drafted me, saw the writing on the wall, and he made changes halfway through my rookie season. And that's when Butch Carter took over. And that's when I started to flourish because there was proper structure put in place for me as a player and what I needed to do to get on the basketball court. And I checked off those boxes, and that's why I started to progress.
What were those conversations? You said Kobe was obviously going through a similar situation in LA. Like, what were those combos like?
It's how do you stay confident within yourself, right? Because our confidence is everything as basketball players, as athletes, as people. Like you need your confidence to perform. And there was just a lot of that, man. It's, stay in the gym, watch film and continue working on your game. Just all the little things and having those conversations and the affirmation for somebody that went through it.
Mm-hmm.
And then a year later, he's an all-star. So that was super encouraging.
Did you have a vet? I know you guys had a young team in Toronto, but did you have anyone like sort of take you under their wing?
Doug Christie. Doug Christie was a guy that I really catered to and learned a lot from. Damon Stardom as well. But me and Doug Christie, man, I became close with him because I was an offensive player. And I knew he was one of the best perimeter players in the game. So if I can play this guy every single day, one-on-one, which we did after practice every single day and sharpen my skills, then I know, when my chance comes, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be confident to be able to score on anybody. So it was going up against a really, really good defender, but also learning while I'm going up against him, trying to perfect my craft and angles and learn so much basketball that I haven't learned before.
Yeah, because you really didn't start getting real minutes until what, your third year, like your final year there? You started getting a little more playing time?
Yeah. I think my third year is when I became like the third guy for that team. Obviously, Vince came in my second year and took, the league by storm. He was crazy his rookie year. So it was Vince, Doug Christie, and myself. And just learning again when Vince came in and he, went to Stardom, it was like, okay, sit back. It ain't your time now. Watch how he handles this, learn, see how he's preparing for games because he's playing 40-something minutes. Like, it was so much that I was just soaking up, pause, and and applying that when the time came for myself.
What were those practices like? I'm sure you've seen Vince do something
We always,
in practice,
oh my gosh.
right?
Vince and I were always on the same team. Butch wouldn't let us, play against each other. We stayed on the same team so we can, establish that cohesiveness and really learn how to play with one another. But it was crazy, bro, seeing some of the things but I've seen this in high school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I played for Team Florida, the junior Team Florida. We played before Vince. So I would sit in the stands after I would play and watch Vince and watch him in the layup lines just go crazy. Like, I've never seen this in my life before. Like this is different.
Probably a front row seat at dunks that other people, haven't been able to see.
This was different. This was different. So in practice, it was the same way. And he was a lot better, a lot stronger, and just incredible athlete, man.
Yeah, I mean, you got you and Vince like, on the same team. Obviously, you had your highlight plays still in Toronto. The one play, I don't even know if you remember this. You were on defense and you got caught by a pump fake. I think it was versus Boston. You got caught, you jumped, and you still blocked the guy before you landed.
Yeah, no, that play was right in front of our bench. I think it was against Eric Williams. He pump faked me. I jumped high as shit. And the curse on you, right?
Yeah, you good, yeah.
I jumped high as shit. And I realized he hasn't shot the ball yet. But then when he goes to shoot, I'm still in the air coming and I'm coming down and just swiped it. But nah,
I think the only other person I've seen do that was I think Blake Griffin did it once, but other than that, it's like I think it's just you and him. I'm probably missing a few, but it's just
yeah,
but
crazy athleticism, man.
obviously you had Vince with you in Toronto. Like how hard of a decision was that to leave Toronto to go to Orlando?
Well, people, so I mean, we told this story before, but there was a lot going on. I didn't want to leave my cousin if things were in order.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things going on with the organization, with the coach, and it wasn't stable for me. And of course, Toronto was going up against me going back home to play in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up 35 miles from Orlando, bro. So when we got the Magic, I became a Magic fan. But when we got Penny, that's when I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I saw myself in that uniform when we got Penny because I identified a lot of my game watching Penny. And that was the inspiration. So when I had the opportunity, it was like,
No brainer, right? Go
it
back home.
was a no brainer to go back home, put on that uniform like my idol. And that's what it was.
Any other teams come close to, you potentially going there? I know I think you said Chicago was looking at you.
Yeah, so Chicago was looking at me when I was a rookie. Well, before I even got drafted, I went in for a private workout. Um, but the night before draft, I went into a private workout. They opened up a clinic. It was like midnight. They snuck me in the back door. So that didn't work out. And then when I became a free agent, I took a visit to Chicago. They rolled out to the red carpet. It was amazing, man. Amazing rollout. I couldn't believe it. It was like, y'all almost got me with this one. But Miami was close. I talked to a couple guys that played in Miami right before me, and I didn't like what they were saying. So I signed with Orlando.
I mean, then you get to Orlando, and right away you become that guy. Like, what's the big change? Is it just opportunity that you didn't get in Toronto that you finally got in Orlando?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's growth, maturity, and I think it's opportunity. I think it's the work that I put in, not realizing that I'm not going to have my co-star with me. It's for 4 seasons, and it's all right. We got to put the work in, and let's see what happens. You know what I mean? I was confident that I would be able to live up to the expectations of the contract that I signed. And I was the first to sign a max contract for a bench player. So I had some pressure going into that situation. I had to live up to, signing a max deal, being a bench player.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up Grant Hill, obviously, like looking back, like how big of a what if is that to you? Like you have a healthy Grant with you for 4 years.
That's why I'm in this. That's why a lot of shit that happens to me in today's, when I'm talking basketball and talking about my career, it has a lot to do with that because and obviously Grant had no control over this.
Yeah.
But that's what, like, a bulk of that is the reason, why I didn't have playoff success. And I hate to just blame it on one person, but that one person in that time, you had 2 stars on your team, right? And my co-star, and Grant Hill at the time was a better player than me. Let's not get that twisted.
Mm-hmm.
He was a much better player than I was. I was a young player in Toronto, 20 years old, averaging 15 points, where this man is a perennial all-star, right?
Getting MJ comparisons, like
Man, crazy. Like he was crazy. Mr. Triple Double, Rookie of the Year. So I'm going into a situation where I know I'm going to have some success as a team, but when he goes down, it's like,
oh,
this is just the luck of the draw. There's nothing we could do about that. But I wish I had the opportunity because like, when we did play with each other, I seen how much easier the game was going to be for me.
mm-hmm.
He put so much pressure on the defense because he was so great at driving, so great at driving. He was an unbelievable passer. I moved good without the ball because I watched him move without the ball. And we were really, between myself, Grant, and Mike Miller, was the perfect trio to do something in the Eastern Conference at that time.
You know, it's crazy. I think an even bigger what if, which it has been brought up, but it doesn't get talked about enough, is how close you guys were to signing Tim Duncan, to getting Tim Duncan. Like, how close was that to actually happening?
Well, from the stories that I heard, and Grant came out and said this as well, they were at dinner with Tim Duncan, and I guess the question came up about his spouse being able to travel with the team.
Mm-hmm.
And Rivers, turned that down. And I think that was a deal breaker for Timmy not to sign with us. But I'm like, this man has won a championship. He's arguably one of the best power forward in the game. And this is 3 years him removed from college.
Mm-hmm.
He's at. You give him what he wants.
Yeah, just lay it all out 100%.
You're supposed to give that man whatever he wants. And that's just the difference in certain organization and certain personnel to pull, the triggers to change the trajectory of your organization. If you got a chance to get Tim Duncan, you already have T-Mac, who's an all-star, and we don't know if Grant Hill we didn't know Grant Hill was going to be, unhealthy. But if you could make that happen, what? Come on, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I have to ask, you have Tim Duncan, a healthy Grant Hill, like,
and Mike Miller,
and Mike Miller, yeah. Like, how confident are you that you're probably going to get at least one championship? Like, that's obviously in the cards.
I don't even care about that. I just care about having a chance to play for it with a real team. You know what I mean? A real legit team. Because now, if that is the case with Tim Duncan and Grant Hill, we're going into every season with that pressure of being a defender, right? So the pressure's on us to win.
I want to talk quickly about the 0-2 All-Star game. Obviously, you have that's the one in Philly.
Okay.
2002. You have probably the most viral play from that game is your off-the-backboard dunk. You probably have more off-the-backboard dunks than anyone I've seen. Like, do you practice that, or is that just mid-game, like you got to adjust and find a way to make a play?
It's a reaction. It's just instincts. I recall the Toronto one in the regular season. We had a timeout, and I was talking to one of my teammates, and I told him coming out of that timeout that I was going to throw it off the glass because I was seeing how the flow of the game was. I just seen it.
You in Toronto while you were in Toronto?
No, I was in Orlando, but we were in Toronto.
In Toronto, yeah.
And I was just seeing how the flow of the game was, and I told him in timeout that I was about to throw it off the glass, and very next possession that we got, I threw it off with the right hand. I typically like to throw it off with the left hand, but this one's with the right. But the All-Star game, it's the All-Star game. It's the biggest platform. All the celebrities, all the stars in the building, and all the stars on one court. We got Michael Jeffrey Jordan in the building. We got Kobe Bryant. We got Shaq. We got the stars, the who's who.
You got to show out,
You got to show out. And I could just remember, I think Jim Gray was interviewing MJ at the time when I did it.
Oh, yeah. They stopped. Like they missed it. And they're like, oh, what did we just miss?
You're making me miss the game.
But that wasn't the first time you pulled that out, right? I think you've done it You did it before the All-Star game?
I did it in preseason. I did it in preseason in Boston.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first time I did it. Preseason in Boston. Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't think there's a stat for it, but I'd like to. I really think you probably have the most off the backboard dunks ever.
I would say, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then, next year, '02 November, classic matchup, you and Kobe, 38 you, 38 Kobe, just one-on-one. I'm guarding you, you're guarding me. Take me through that game. Like, what's it like going up against Kobe?
Man, it's the night before, get your rest because you got a long night of, guarding arguably one of the best offensive players, one of the most fierce competitors that we've ever seen. So for me, I love that opportunity because when you're not playing for championships, all we got is our matchups with our team. You know what I mean? And I take, great pride in matching up against these great stars because you just don't know, what type of moment or legacy or magical moment you're going to leave after that game. And, going up against Kobe, we created some amazing matchups. Amazing matchups. I got the best of him sometimes, and a lot of times he got the best of me. But the challenge, though, is in the competition is what I really, really admired and thrived going up against him. I mean, that's what you play. That's why you play sports. Yeah. Because somebody challenges you to bring something out of you to make you go deeper than you've probably ever went deeper than someone has ever made you step into that within yourself. And Kobe brought that out of everyone.
Is there a specific play you remember that you were like, damn, like obviously you know how good he is, but just to see it on the court at the same time?
Not a specific play, it's just his tenacity and how he goes about the game, his preparation and everything. Like he is when you look at Kobe and you look at MJ and these guys that are on that tier, it's an obsession that they have with the game of basketball or with becoming great. And it was like for me to witness that up close and personal, I admired that someone was able to go to that level mentally in which he was able to tap into.
Did you guys talk at all like mid-game or was it just buckets and that's it?
Buckets. Just buckets. There was no trash talking. It was just buckets.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, you were on First Take last week, made a comment, said, if I was with Shaq, along the lines, if I was with Shaq, I'd probably have a title. And the point of that is pretty much, well, you think fans probably overestimate titles when they come to talk about legacy, right? Or greatness.
I wouldn't say they overestimate it, but it doesn't tell the full story of guys that didn't complete it.
Yeah.
And to go back to those comments, I never should have said replace. I think replacing Kobe. I don't want to say I'm replacing Kobe. I will stand on playing with Shaq though.
Yeah.
Playing with Shaq. I in that era, and we're talking about we're not talking about an overall career head matchup like my resume, Kobe resumes, my career, Kobe. We're not talking about that. We're only talking about a specific moment in era where in 2000, 2001 to like 2007, 2008 in that time frame. But specifically when I was in Orlando and Shaq they were three-peating. Shaq was the most dominant player in our game.
Yeah.
When I'm seeing a guy averaging 38 and 16 in the finals, and I'm over here, I'm averaging 30 as a 21-year-old. Yeah, I believe if I'm playing with that big guy, I can win a championship. And the story is told differently. And the reason I said that is because Shaq, Kobe, Tim Duncan, in that time was the only ones winning championships.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else really was winning championships. These guys winning. Tim Duncan from 1999, you know, to 2007 which was my prime. That's all I saw winning championships. Detroit snuck one in there. Again, Shaq with Miami won one. And Dirk, did Dirk win? No, Dirk won in 2011. So that was pretty much all I saw in my prime years of being me, watching Shaq and Tim Duncan win championships. Bro, everybody know Kobe's my man, bro.
Yeah.
Kobe's my brother, bro. There's no way in hell I would ever disrespect my brother like that. Yes, it came out as me replacing. I never said I was better than Kobe. Never, never. And I would never say that. I'm on the front line. I'm on the front line of advocating for my brother. Always.
Yeah, I think the point you were making is that you can't diminish someone's career or talent because they didn't win a championship, because that's just situation based for the most part, right?
It's always situational, and here's why. My 4 years in Orlando, I was the same age as Michael Jordan when he was getting bounced out of the first round. We're talking about the greatest of all time. Michael Jordan was averaging 30. I was averaging 30. Why was the greatest losing? Was he to blame, or he didn't have the team around him? Right? Okay. Kobe and Shaq is winning 3 championships. At this time, I think by the second or third championship, Kobe's probably the best player in the game. Other than Shaq, perimeter player.
Yeah.
But Shaq and Tim Duncan, you could put them up there. I'm saying perimeter player. Bean is probably the best perimeter player in our game. Mm-hmm. Shaq leaves. Bean struggles. The Lakers struggles. Right? So you telling me, as great as this guy is, Shaq leaves and he can't get out of the first round now for 3 years? He's great. Mm-hmm. Are we not watching greatness with Kobe lose in the first round and not make the playoffs? That's still greatness. So why, when it comes to me, I'm losing in the first round, don't have my best player in the first series that I played against Milwaukee, I don't have him. I lose. Go to the next series, play Charlotte. We play a team that killed us on the glass. P.J. Brown, Eldon Campbell, Jamal McGlure, and one of the top 5 point guards in the league, Baron Davis. We got crushed on the glass, right? I lose that series. Now, you could go in every series that myself, you could add Michael Jordan, you could add Kobe Bryant, you could add guys like Paul Pierce, great perimeter players. We all have had games where we didn't shoot the ball well.
Yeah.
But there's other things that we did. So people,
they pick and choose, like when it's team versus player, right? That's kind of like what it comes down to, really. Like sometimes they blame the team, or they'll blame the player if they lose, team if they win, or vice versa.
I'm always to blame. I'm always to blame. I've had games and game. So this is what I'm trying to get at. You blame me for not getting out of the first round. Mind you, I go 0-6, right? That's 3 years in Orlando, and that's 3 years in Houston as well. I go 0-6. Now, other stars in my game is losing in the first round. But these guys don't start winning championships and advancing until they're 30. KG won a chip at 31. Paul Pierce won his chip at 30. Ray Allen won his first chip at 31, 32, I think. Mm-hmm. My prime, I declined before I even touched 30. I declined. I was done. So I only can go off of that small little area or small little time frame of when I was healthy for 7 straight years. And in those 7 straight years, judge me off of my performance, not off of my team, because I didn't have a strong team in Orlando. Yeah. And Well, you didn't play defense. Let's address the defense. All right. I played against Milwaukee my first year in Orlando. They had Sam Cassell. They had Ray Allen. They had Big Dog Glenn Robinson. They had Tim Thomas, right? I had to guard Big Dog Glenn Robinson in those playoff series. That was my assignment. I averaged 33 in that series. Go look at what Big Dog did. And this, I'm not diminishing or talking shit or anything about Big Dog. I'm just saying what I'm identifying the defense that I played in this series against a very good offense player. And if you don't know who Big Dog is, and I'm talking to the audience, you don't know who Big Dog is, at that time he was one of the most dangerous and best mid-range jump shooters in our game.
Mm-hmm.
Go look at his stats from regular season and look at his stats in that playoff series. And that I was the primary defender on him. Okay. They say leadership. Oh, you ain't got the leadership. All right. We play Detroit Pistons, bro. They the number 1 seed. Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, freaking Cliff Robinson, Ben Wallace, stack.
Scary team.
Stack. Like physical team, well-coached team, because Rick Carlisle was their coach, and we see Rick Carlisle can freaking coach what he did with Indiana, right? So I'm going up against this team that has won one or two been to the Eastern Conference Finals twice at this time, and then this year they went their third year. I got 2 rookies. Drew Gooden is battling his ass off against Corliss Williamson and Ben Wallace, a rookie, right? In my starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got another rookie, Gordon Giricek, that's trying to check Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton. 2 rookies, bro.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup.
It's not, and is that not showing leadership to go into Detroit, lead my team, and have a chance in a game 7? Like, that's not leadership? What? Come on, bro. Don't do that to me now. 2 rookies, and then when you really want to put the icing on it and understand how difficult it was to beat them boys, yeah, we were up 3-1. We were up 3-1. If you want to blame me for saying, it feels good to be in the second round, if you want to blame me for us losing that series, okay, cool. What's the blame for other guys losing 3-1, other greats? So why do y'all keep bringing that up? There's a lot of greats. The very next year, what took place? What did the Pistons do the very next year? Now, 2003, I take them to 7 games with 2 rookies. What did the Pistons do the very next year? Do you know?
They won it all.
They won it all. Who did they beat?
The Lakers.
How many games?
5.
Come on, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They made it. They added Rasheed Wallace to that team, but pretty much it was the same team.
Yeah.
I averaged 31 on them. I averaged 30 on them. Yes, I lost.
Mm-hmm.
I lost.
Respect that. Like, no matter how you slice it, like,
come on, man. This is all I'm trying to say. Like, don't point the finger here. And don't, like, it's a collective thing. Don't point it here. Yeah, I was 7 for 24 in the fourth. I mean, in the game 7. Okay. But what happened in the other previous games? Name me other guys that could go in Detroit and put up 40 back-to-back in Detroit. Name those guys against that team, that tough-ass team. Come on, bro. I was different too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I lost. No Grant Hill. 2 rookies against them all-stars. I put up a fight. That's what we're supposed to do. That's leadership. I put up a fight. We went in there and put up a fight. I had them young boys ready to play, and they played. We just fell short.
Mm-hmm.
Now we go to Houston. Everybody talk, well, you had Yao Ming. I did have Yao Ming. Yao Ming was in his third year when we played against Dallas. We were without our third leading scorer in Juwan Howard. So you know what that meant? I got to guard one of the greatest scorers we ever seen, Dirk Nowitzki. 30,000 points, Dirk Nowitzki. So it goes back to he doesn't play defense. If I told you, and if you could put the numbers up, Dirk Nowitzki wasn't even the best player on that team in that series. Jason Terry was. Dirk Nowitzki, go look at his regular season numbers. Look what Dirk Nowitzki did in that playoff series. So match up the stars. Now you go match up the stars because it's a big time star on this team. This man was incredible. Go look at what he did to some of the other great defenders in the Western Conference at that time in the playoffs. Crazy numbers. Crazy. I took upon it myself to try to shut this man down. Go look at his numbers. Can you pull his numbers up? We got time. You got it right now?
Yeah, what do you want to see?
What was Dirk Nowitzki numbers in the 2005 playoff series against the Rockets? And pull my numbers up against that. Because we got to contextualize these series.
05 playoffs, he had 21 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists.
Who had that?
Dirk.
What was his field goal percentage?
35.
Say that again.
35.2%.
What he shot from the three?
28%.
That's not defense. That's not defense. That's all I'm asking, bro. So they gotta tell the whole story. So their best player, I'm just trying to paint this picture. Their best player shoots 35% from the floor. He averages 21, 28 from three. This is Dirk.
Yeah.
30 points, regular season Dirk. What did I average in that? 30. Efficient 30. And we lose? Now, before they be like, well, you still lost, I want you to go and see what Tim Donaghy said. My coach in that series has the biggest mind in NBA history.
Really?
Pull up Tim Donaghy, what he said about the 2005 Houston Rockets series.
Said it was fixed? Is that what it is?
Did he say it?
That's what the article's saying, yeah.
Are you reading it?
Mm-hmm.
Who were they targeting?
Yao Ming comments?
Targeting Yao. He was in foul trouble most of that series. This is the referee saying that.
Yeah.
What you want me to do, bro? Because it don't add up. Their best player didn't play the best. Our best player played the best, and we lose by 40 in game 7. Come on, bro. Come on, man.
I know.
What you want me to do? So it's not telling the whole story. Yes, we lost, but contextualize what's really going on. You know what I mean? Like there isn't too many guys from playoff series to playoff series to average 30 points consistently. I did that consistently, right? So yeah, you could say, well, you still lost. Come on, man. Let's put it in context, bro.
They're always going to say that. The good thing is that everyone that knows the game knows how cold you were. But no matter what people are going to say, they're going to come up with comments anyway.
For sure.
That's how it goes.
I just like to put it out there of what it really is. Like, don't say he didn't play defense or he didn't lead.
Yeah.
Look at it. Look at it. It's right there. All you got to do is look at it.
Yeah.
Even going back to you remember the 22-game win streak we had as the Rockets?
Mm-hmm. I think 07, I think.
I think it was 07. You look at that roster. There's no way you would have thought this roster can win 22 games. That was fourth in history. The fourth team in history ever to win that many games. We lost Yao in game 11, 12, I think, and continued the streak. That's not leadership.
Yeah.
That's not leadership. Then I had to go play a tough Jazz team, right? Without my big fella. So it's a lot of bad luck on my side. For me, I think the developing the nuanced language to identify like what greatness is, because you telling me there's I don't see there's not greatness because you didn't get out of the first round. But I would see Steph when Draymond or Clay is not in the lineup. They don't make the playoffs. I would see Giannis, who's a beast, lose Dame, don't get out of the first round. KD, who's my favorite, efficient, one of the greatest, lost in the first round the last 3 years. These guys are great. It happens.
Yeah, it's part of the game. You can't say they're not great because that happens.
It happens. In my years, I'm learning how to win. I didn't come into a situation where I had guys that have won championships or a coach that had won championships. When I started becoming a star in this league, my coach he was only a second-year coach. It was a second-year coaching. So I didn't come into a situation where I was learning how to win. I was doing that as I was going. So I was close. 3 straight 7-game series. Detroit, 7-game series, 50-win team. Dallas, 7-game series, 50-win team. And then we went 7 against Utah. And in that game, we should have won. We should have won that one. Now, if you want to criticize, we should have.
That's the one.
That's the one that's the be hot, bro. That one right there, I'm like, I just knew we had that, man. And in that game, right? So you want to point out some games where, well, you only scored a point. You was 1 for 4. I scored 14 points in the fourth quarter of that game 7. Had 13 assists, or 29 and 13 in that game. And guess what? We lost.
Context matters.
We lost. So it's, it is what it is, man. But to go back to the whole Kobe thing, everybody know that's my brother, man. I would never, ever undermine or disrespect the greatness of what Kobe Bean did. I should have never brought his name up, but I still, believe in my time, if I had played with Shaq back then, I would have won a championship. And that's all I was saying. And that was because we're talking about this whole ring culture thing and how that changes to the trajectory of a player's career, which it does. That is the ultimate goal for all of us to win a championship. But don't tell my story that's incomplete as if I didn't put in a lot of work in this game, bro. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that, because I put in too much work, man.
I wanted to touch on one more game from your Orlando days. 03 Christmas Day. You was Bron, and you had 41, 11, and 8. Bron had like 34 and 6. Your first time going against Bron, 18 years old, probably the biggest prospect to date. Anything you noticed that game that's like you knew what was coming?
I knew it. Yeah. I knew it, because I'm seeing the movement. I'm seeing the calmness, the poise, and like, we know he's a freakish athlete, but he was making some
tough shots. Yeah.
But when he started making them tough shots, I said, "Oh." So I said, "Oh."
You see the hype, you believe it, huh?
I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Hey." And then the way he was passing the ball, I was like, "Damn, he nice." He was one of those guys where when you just sitting in the crowd Like if you ain't really a basketball fan, but you just sitting there and you watching some kids play, you be like, damn, that kid good. Like he stands out. You
Yeah,
know,
you gotta understand the game to know like this guy's doing whatever he's doing at an elite level.
yeah, at 18 years old, like, yeah, he's gonna be great. He ended up being great.
From there, you go to Houston, 2004, teamed up with Yao. How was that like? What was your chemistry like with Yao?
It was good, man. I leaned on Bean a little bit too because he played with Shaq. So this was my first time playing with a big. So I leaned on Bean to, you know, I'm trying to find my rhythm, bro, because I'm coming off of averaging 32 points, 28 points, leading the league in scoring. Now
Let's slow it down a bit, right?
I'm held back. You know, it's crazy. My first meeting with Jeff Van Gundy, he told me, like, congratulations, you led the league in scoring 2 years in a row, but you're gonna lead it here. He said you're not gonna lead the league in scoring here, which he wasn't lying. We had a big fella to get the ball to, but all in all, man, yeah, he was still raw, the learning. But by the time he got to year 5 and 6, he was really good. Left hand, right hand, shot 80-something% from the line, can hit the midi. Like he was really, really polished as an offensive player.
Then December '04, obviously you have the 13 and 33, but right before that, it doesn't get brought up as much, but you versus Dirk, you 48, Dirk 53. Like,
Classic.
I'm not sure if you guys are guarding each other that game, but like, just what do you remember from that game? Just both of you guys putting up almost 50 each.
I just remember it just felt like one of those Kobe T-Mac moments. It felt like that, right? It felt like one of those moments that you watching Magic and Bird or Neek and Bird. Like it felt in that moment. That's what it felt like because you knew when you see him started hitting threes and then he's in his mid-range game and everything is falling. It's like, okay, it's gonna be one of these nights. And then I felt it as well. So we were just really feeding off each other's energy.
Yeah, that's a special battle for sure.
Tonight though, because that 53 was crazy. And I knew it was crazy when I fouled him hard one time on the break and he somehow just threw it
Still
up.
finished, right? Yeah, no, that was an OT, I think, or late in the fourth.
Like, it's his night, man. Oh, you got it, bro. You got it. But now that's what you live for because you don't always get an opportunity to match up with greats like that. Now, Dirk and I did match up, but when you match up in the regular season and those moments right there start to materialize, yeah, you take full advantage of that.
Injuries come into play. Like, at what point did you really realize your body starting to feel, different and just starting to feel the injuries that you had?
Yeah, my second year in Houston. My,
Mm-hmm.
my second year in Houston, and I was what? I was 24, 25, my first year, like 26, 27 years old.
So it was the back first.
Nah, it wasn't my back. My back was, I had a herniated disc 21 years old. Like my whole time in Orlando, I couldn't get through a season if I didn't get an epidural shot in my back. That's how I played my career. I would go to my doctor and get an epidural in my back every single year before the season starts. And it'll last me up until about the end of the year. And then I'll do some treatments to help me get through that in the playoffs. But now it was my knee. My knee gave out. I remember us being in Utah. We get to Utah and I get to sit down on the couch. I went to prop my leg up, extend my knee. I couldn't extend my leg out. My knee was done. So when that happened, I had surgery after the year we lost to Utah in 6 games without Yao. We come back that next year. I want to say we had run our test that year, and I'm not healthy at all. And that was it is crazy how God works, man, and how things work. It's just I've been fighting all these years to get out of the first round and to win. Forget getting out of the first round. Like, who plays just to get out of the first round? To win. And we get run our test, and I'm cooked. Oh, man. You don't know how devastated I was for like 2 years. Didn't want to go outside. I was in Chicago doing rehab. I was sick, bro.
Mhm.
That time really it really messed me up, man, because this, despite what people may think, like I really care about this game. I really put in a lot of work. As you can see, that body work for 7 straight years, what I was able to do. You don't do that by not putting in work. I put in so much work. So now I get my chance to be with finally a solid contending team, and I'm not available. And I have control over that.
And then, after Houston, you go to you play with the Knicks, Pistons, other teams. Like, what was that transition like? Hated it?
I think it was something for me to prove because I had microfracture. I wasn't the same player. It was push yourself to see if you could get back in the league and have an impact on a team. That was the sole purpose of that. But I was done, bro. I was done. Like mentally, physically, my body just didn't feel well. I was getting, mentally ejected from the game. It just wasn't the same.
Yeah, 2013, you were on that Spurs team. Um, in the finals, obviously, you guys don't win it. But it's like tying back to the whole ring culture thing. Like, do you think people would actually look at your career differently if you got one in 2013?
No, I hope not, man.
Oh, right? Like,
I,
obviously, it's way differently as like 2013 versus the mid 2000s.
I see a lot of people saying they hope they wish I got that ring, but as a competitor, bro, you want to go through it. You want to be a part of the journey. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Because that's the fulfilling part. Like I want to be a part of the journey and going through the ups and downs of the season and trying to figure out, you know, and then when we do figure it out, we're not looking back. And when you get that cohesiveness and that you form that chemistry, it's a beautiful thing, man. Just having that in Houston when we were on that 22 game win streak, that was a really good team. Now, had we had Yao that year,
Yeah, that was special. Yeah.
would have been different. But the cohesiveness that we had with that group, oh my gosh, man, it was Shane Battier, Chuck Hayes, Luis Scola, Dikembe Mutombo, Ray Foster. Like that was a really, really good group of guys, and we knew what it takes to win. We'd go out there and we do our job.
Mhm.
Losing Yao really hurt us that season, though.
Once you retire 2012, 2013, are you at peace with that? Or is any part of you like, damn, I wish I was still playing? Or how was that
No,
transition?
I was at peace. I
Yeah.
was, yeah, because I was at peace when I realized that I would never get back to that level that I once was at, and I made it. If I can just, pull out a couple more seasons after this microfracture, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Just to prove for yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and that was it.
I want to ask you just do a quick segment, ask you some questions, let me know like your answer, and then if you want to give a reasoning to why you think so. Cool. Top three scorers of your era.
My era, Kobe, AI, and myself.
Mhm. Cool. Hardest player you ever had to guard.
Really,
It's a pretty obvious answer, but I think you spoke on it already.
Being
Most underrated player you ever played against.
man, I got a couple.
Yeah.
A couple. Jamal Mashburn, Katino Mobley, Ricky Davis was pretty good. Like I like the highlight guys that nobody talk about. Like these guys were good players. But Jamal Mashburn and Katino Mobley was underrated hoopers for me. And another one, Peja Stojakovic. I hated Garden. Hated Garden Peja.
Light it up from three. Like
Oh man, he was unbelievable. Unfreaking believable.
two-part question here. Do you think the NBA should add a one-on-one tournament for the All-Star weekend?
I know the answer to that already. I'm not gonna reveal it.
All right. If they had that in the 2000s, who do you think would win or who do you think would have the most wins?
Hmm. Hey, man, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Now, of course, Kobe is obviously a name myself, but dog, you got Baron Davis, Steve Francis,
Melo,
Mel. I don't know.
tough, yeah.
I don't know.
Is there a player today that reminds you of yourself?
I like to say Paul George and KD.
Mm.
Like,
6'10" handle, get a bucket whenever they want. Like, makes sense.
yeah, smooth.
Favorite dunk of your career?
When we talk about dunking on someone or just favorite dunk?
Either one.
It's not really a creative dunk, but man, that aggression, that left hand dunk that I had in the playoffs against Milwaukee on my boy, um, man,
It's tough.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I got some good ones, bro. Ah,
You do. The one when you were in Toronto against the Bulls, I forgot who you put on the poster, but that one was tough.
Cornell David. That
Then
was
your early Orlando days, I don't know if it was on purpose or what, but like you had, I think, 3 or 4 dunks in 2 games against Toronto where you went crazy. Like a
yeah,
lot, a lot of your best dunks came against the Raptors
yeah.
when you were with Orlando.
I guess I would say I love the left-handed dunk on Tim Thomas in the playoffs because it was just so aggressive,
Mhm.
and it was the playoffs. It was so aggressive, and I was like, if you see that one, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like I was, it's like I turned into a goddamn maniac when I did that, man. All the aggression came out.
And last one, if you played in the NBA right now, today's rules, you put you in your prime, how much are you averaging?
Uh, let's see. I probably will be 36, 37.
Yeah.
I would respect the game and say 36, 37. I'm not gonna say
Want to
40.
go too crazy?
I'm not gonna I said 40 before, but I'm gonna respect and say 36. And the reason why I say that is because I didn't really shoot that many threes in my era, and I averaged 32. I know how to get to the free throw line, and my best years of shooting three, I shot like 38 from the 3 point line. I think up my threes, probably another 3 or 4 a game. Average about 7, 8 free throws. Yeah,
I believe that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that pretty much wraps it up. Also want to know, current day T-Mac, what are you up to now? I know you're building OBL. If you want to talk more to that.
Yeah, man, building OBL. I just finished my 5 part series that's on YouTube. It's it's something that is real near and dear to my heart that I want to create for these players. Just giving them an opportunity, a platform for them to really live out their dreams. I know a lot of these cats, get overlooked, and no one's really giving them an opportunity or a chance, or maybe felt like that. I want to be the one to create that platform for those guys that have that feeling, for them to live out their dreams. So we got some great talent out here, untapped talent, and the one on one world is going crazy right now. CNC, they're doing a great job over there. I love watching their pay-per-view joint. The undercard was amazing. Um, but yeah, man, it's where we are in this space, and OBL is building. We're creating, telling stories, and I think our audience and our players love what we're doing. So if you haven't had a chance, check out OBL on YouTube. We got a 5 point series. We just completed it yesterday.
You guys got season 2 coming up soon, right?
Yep, we're gonna do season 2 in September, and again, it's gonna be on YouTube. Also, I'm a limited partner. I joined the Buffalo Bills, looking to win a Super Bowl with my Bills. We got a chance this
You're winning it
year,
all this year?
huh?
They're winning it all this year?
I hope so, man. I hope so. Like we close, but you got Lamar Jackson,
You got to get past the Chiefs.
you got Burrows. Like, damn, bro, can y'all go to the other conference or something? Nah, we want to go through the fire. That's what we want to do. So I know our guys are getting ready.
All right, man. Well, really appreciate you coming on. One of the best to ever do it. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate your time.